This video is brought to you by the letter F, as in F me, that's a lot of wires. Well, hello everyone. If you haven't figured out already, this video is about installing the Formula Dynamics drive-by-wire F1 module. And for the few people that this video actually serves, the ones that are on the fence, I know it's not, this isn't exactly like putting a chip in your diesel F250. I mean, there's very a limited market, but I really hope this helps those that are on the fence about whether they should get it and install it themselves type of thing. My hope is that since there's really nothing out there on the worldwide internet about these, that this video helps you. So at any rate, we'll get to what's included in the box here. Obviously the F1 module itself, and it also comes with a Y cable. This has an interface for the drive-by-wire and the ECM control modules, and you have a switch on each one of these to change the different modes. You have a main harness, which I think is a 16-pin, and obviously that's where we have plenty of wires to tap into and tee off of. They include some connectors, which are spade connectors, so I probably won't be using those, and some friction tape, which is actually good stuff, so that's nice. And your instructions, and the instructions are pretty straightforward. I just read through them last night when I picked up the box here, and there's nothing on here that's really scary at all from what I can see. The scariest stuff is already in the car. So for a car with a CAN bus type system that reduces wiring, this sure is a lot of wiring. So yeah, we'll get to it here, and we'll start taking things apart and finding our pins. So the first step is to locate your ECM, your engine control module, and on American cars and on European cars, it's on the right hand side. All you're going to end up doing, the easiest way to access it is you've got this weather stripping. You just pull that off the sill here, and then you can lift the carpet up and out of the way. Obviously remove your interior carpeting, pull that back. Behind that is the main fuse panel for the passenger's feet, which I don't believe we're going to even need to get to. I think everything we need is tucked up there. So tucked up there, see if I can focus in on it. Yep. Here we go. You'll see that's the Bosch ECM. So we're going to end up disconnecting the main harness going to that ECM, and then we will remove the bracket that you see there and take the ECM right out of the car so we have some space to work. This main wiring harness, we're going to have to unwrap all of this just so that we can really spread things apart and see what we're tapping into, because if you connect the wrong wire, you can cause some damage. You could actually destroy your ECU, though it's extremely unlikely. You're much more likely just to throw a code, but at any rate, you want to make very sure that what you are doing is what you're supposed to be doing. So let me get this camera set up somewhere in a place that it's not in my way, but hopefully you guys can still see, and we'll start taking it apart. Alright, so the first step is going to be releasing the main clip here, and if you look at the very bottom of this connector, and you'll see that bottom piece is disconnected, you're going to pull down on that, and then the whole connector should free up. There we go. So that's similar to what you would see in your door jams, that type of connector. It's a nice weatherproof single clip connector. Although right now it's not being real nice. Okay, there we go. So there's that, and that whole sliding piece is basically locks the entire unit into place once it's in. And I believe we have one more connector up top. So that top harness is putting up a bit of a fight, and it's just in an awkward position. So with the big harness kind of out of the way here, it lets you move the bundle around enough that it's just easier to drop this bottom bracket and remove the ECM, and then we can remove the top connector a lot easier. 10 millimeter, by the way, on these two. I don't want to lose my lock washer. Alright, pop the bracket. And there we go. And this will give you a better look at that that connector anyway. So we're just going to pull out on this top section. Yeah, it was no way I was getting that off in the place it was, the area it was located. Use this guy. Woo! She's putting up a good fight. May need to get the pliers for that one. Try this without pliers. I don't want to break anything. There it is. And there we are. So to quote my other favorite YouTube channel, Mr. Av, now we're in the meat of her. Anyway, this is the fun part. Trying to figure out which wire is which. And you've got two main harnesses here. We're going to do most of our work on the larger of the two harnesses. We will tap this, I believe, for a couple of different wires, but the majority of the wiring is going to be involving this absolute rat's nest of magical colors and stripes. So going by the magical colors and stripes is not advisable alone. You really want to do a pinout. And to do a pinout, you're always looking at the back of a connector and counting that route. The instructions I'm finding from Formula Dynamics leave a lot to be desired in the pinout side. It's just not very clear. So luckily someone has done a great job of basically taking this document and turning it into something you can use easily, and has put that on Sport Maserati forums. So I'm going to give you a shot of that. I've just pulled it up on the computer here, and if you're unable to find it, I'm going to zoom in as best I can here to give you a clear shot. That way you can just pause the video, screenshot it, and use it yourself if you can't find it online. But this is what Formula Dynamics, take note Formula Dynamics, put this in your instructions. Way easier to decipher, and it gives you the pinout and gives you the colors and tells you what goes to what. So this is a great tool there, and I just want to throw it in my video and give credit to the author on that one. That was well played, sir. So I think the smartest thing to do here is to kind of bag and tag all my wires before I start cutting and snipping. That way there's less chance of me making a mistake, and I can do all the soldering in one shot. So that's what I'll do now, is bag and tag it. So with the aid of that other diagram there, it actually turned out to be not nearly as bad as I had heard, or not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, because the bulk of your wiring actually doesn't even need to get connected. There's only 7 wires that either tap or splice into the factory connections, and the remainder you can heat shrink. That's all I did, was just cut off the tips and heat shrink them together, so we don't have to any worries about it grounding out on anything. And all the other connectors I just cut, soldered, and heat shrink together. As far as locating the box, there's a beautiful spot right here, and when this all gets closed up behind the factory carpeting and you have the door there, it gives you access to the F1 module if you needed it. And the only other custom thing we're going to need to do here is on this Y cable that allows you to select the driving modes. So I'm just going to disconnect this switch. I'm probably going to change out to a different switch that isn't quite so, well, cheesy. And I'm going to extend those wires up into my center console here and try to find a place to put it. I'll probably end up putting it under the cover there, just so I don't disrupt the look of anything in there. But that is a switch that I think I'm going to want to access on a fairly regular basis, so I definitely don't want it buried down where the module is. So far so good on that. So I'll get that switch wired up next and finish wrapping up all these harnesses and making them look nice and protect them, and then we'll throw the ECM back in its place. So I got the ECM tucked back in, all connected, and the F1 control module sitting right there, and ran the wiring all around it. Actually came out really clean. Down the bottom here is where that main connector is, and as you'll see, I tapped off of losing my light. Tapped off the where the old switch was that came with it, and I'm just running a new wire up to what'll probably end up being in my center console. I'd like to put something down in the center here, so I'm going to pop this out. I know there's a bracket here that might be in the way, so we're going to try that as our first option, and if that doesn't work, then I'll tuck it up under the little storage compartment there. So let me get that center popped out. Yeah, so I think that's going to work out nice. There's that little cross bracket I remembered, but right behind it is a nice deep space. So I'm going to drop the switch right in here, and I'll put in one of the safety toggle switches where you have the cover that flips over on it. But I think I've got one of those in the toolbox, and I think that'll work out really nice. So before you freak out, the reason I'm drilling through this and not worrying about it too much is because there is a cover that goes over it, and this is easily replaceable. So if I decide I don't like it, well, you'll just never know it was ever there. So that's it. It's all installed, and you would not know it was even there, but for the switch in the center. The red switch is a little two-boy racer for me, so I did throw a little bit of the carbon fiber on the top of it just to kind of tone it down. I don't know if that's the switch I'm going to stay with, but it's a switch I had kicking around, so I figured I'd use it for now. And I do want something that protects it from being hit accidentally, so this style switch is good for that. But it still might be a little more obvious than I would like. But for now, it'll work. And here's the real teaser. You're not going to be able to see it. I'm not able to see it. I can't do anything with it. Roads are covered in salt, and this car is not going to be seeing salty roads, so we got to wait. Probably in about another month or so, after a good couple of rains, I might be able to get it out there early and put it through its paces. But for now, that's the install video, and be sure to subscribe if you're not already for the follow-up videos, see what this thing can do. But as always, appreciate everybody watching. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or criticisms, right down there in the comment section. Please hit subscribe over here, my little circle, and check out a couple of the other videos over here. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.